introvert, someone who feels more comfortable focusing on their inner thoughts and ideas, rather than what's happening externally. They enjoy spending time with just one or two people rather than large groups or crowds. I've always known this about myself. And maybe some of you guys can relate to this, but for as long as I can remember, I've never been the type of person that wanted to be into the mix. I never really understood what was so fun about just standing around in a club full of strangers that will likely never build any meaningful relationships with, and then probably drinking poison to warm myself up to bond with these strangers just so we can quote unquote have a good time. Maybe I'm just overthinking this and I should just be indulging because everyone around me is having such a great time. Or maybe I just watch too much goddamn anime and I've started to develop some type of main character syndrome, low-key making me believe that I'm kind of better than everyone else. I don't belong in these crowds. I was destined to do something greater. Now let me be serious for a second. I don't think being introvert is weird at the end of the day. We're all different and we all have different personalities. You're not better or worse than anybody just because you like to go out and be in front of crowds, or if you rather just stay at home and watch movies by yourself. These are all just preferences at the end of the day, but something that I have noticed about myself as being an introvert is we are the minority. And naturally because of that, it starts to lead to the feeling of self-doubt or not being able to relate to anybody else. These thoughts really started to come to the forefront of my mind when I went to my very first DreamCon this past weekend. If you don't know what DreamCon is, it's pretty much like a VidCon or a Comic Con that's geared towards the new gen of YouTubers and streamers. They usually have this event once a year and it's gotten bigger every single year. And even though I wanted to go every year, because me being an introvert, I'd always tell myself last minute and flake like, what's the point of me going? I don't know anybody. I don't want to be in front of all these random people. As I probably shouldn't go, and then I wouldn't go. I've never been good with just being around a bunch of strangers and just forcing myself to think I'm having a good time. I already knew that me being me, my social battery would probably die the second I walked through those doors. But this year was completely different. Because of this newfound community that I'm so blessed to have on this channel, I almost had like a sense of duty that, I have to go out there and connect and be with you guys. I know I can't see every single one of my subscribers because, probably all of you didn't go, but even if it was just one person, I wanted to meet them and let them know how much I appreciate the support that y'all gave me, man. To be able to have that opportunity to hang out, talk to you guys, maybe take a picture that will last forever in real life with somebody that's supporting me online. It didn't matter what it was, I could not miss out on the opportunity. So for 2024 DreamCon, I forced myself to go. And boy, was I hit with so much anxiety when I walked into this building with 20,000 plus people just walking around everywhere. There was so much commotion going on. You're looking around and everyone's either dressed up as if their favorite anime or a game character, or just there to see other YouTubers, their favorite streamer, to support them. But it was just crazy, like people everywhere, bro. I'm not gonna lie, it was just impossible to not feel overwhelmed. Long story short though, I was able to meet up with so many supporters and even meet creators that I've been talking to on the internet that I've never met in real life in person. So that was really cool. And just being able to see like bigger creators interacting with smaller creators, it was a very dope experience. To be honest, I just wanted to go home at times. I'm so glad that I thugged it out because I was genuinely so inspired. See, this is the thing about being an introvert. There are pros and cons to it. Some of the pros being that you stick to yourself and you don't put yourself in any position to be distracted by the outside world. Obviously, that has a long list of benefits, but sometimes stepping out of your comfort zone and experiencing the world and what's going on around you can give you so much perspective. Seeing all those creators, big or small, just being passionate about where they are or, trying to obtain where they want to be, it inspired me in ways that I can't even describe. Looking up to some of these guys and genuinely actually being able to see in real time what could be if I keep pushing. All I've ever wanted in my life is to be successful. Sometimes I feel like I suffocate myself with my aspirations because of how bad I want to achieve my goals. And even though I think focusing on success is very important, I'd be lying to say that there's not some self-reflection that goes on in my head sometimes where I just question like, why am I even doing this and why am I the way I am? When I'm looking around, everyone around me just seems so much happier than I am, carefree, living life outside, doing what they want to do, going to parties, hosting their dates, or even just spending time with their families. Meanwhile, my days, they just feel so one-sided all the time. All I do is go to the gym, eat, work on my videos, and pretty much repeat. That's my life. And I don't want to make it sound like I'm complaining, because I truly love what I do. Like, I'm introverted, like I've always been this way. It's not necessarily a problem, but getting out of my comfort zone this weekend, I feel like I was finally able to appreciate why people are extroverted. It is so easy to project and just judge people because they don't think or act the way that you do, when the reality is you don't know what anyone's going through. Maybe people like being in crowds in public places all the time because they're dealing with real problems when they're isolated by themselves. Or maybe it's just as simple as maybe hanging out with their friends every weekend is the only little bit of happiness that they're able to scrape up every week because they work 40-hour full-time jobs every single week. This is the only time I get to be happy and hang out with my friends. And I guess me just being the way I am, introverted, I've always viewed people that go out and are partying all the time as just a complete waste of time, and it's just like, yeah, these guys are idiots. I'm not gonna lie, I always looked at somebody that's super extroverted, that is somebody that picks pleasure over priorities, versus me, I'm very introverted and very focused on what's going on inside my head and the goals I want to achieve. And don't get it twisted, I do think there's a fair share of idiots that are just wasting their life away partying all day, but I am starting to realize that it's not fair to just label everybody that decides to have fun and put some pleasure in their life as not having their priorities together. I don't know if anyone else struggles with this, because I don't know, as long as I can remember, I've always been this way. It's hard for me to open up to people. It's hard for me to trust people. It's hard for me to, like, I guess, see the other side. I'm literally so caught up in what I want to do with my life and what I want to do with my goals that there's not a second that goes by that I'm not thinking to myself like, yo, whatever I'm doing right now feels like a waste of time. It's not progressing me closer to my end goal. So I need to get my shit together. That's literally how my brain thinks. Now, even though I'm able to reflect on that, I don't necessarily think my lifestyle is going to change completely to where I'm going to be picking pleasure over my priorities now, but my perspective has changed a lot. Because even though to be great, sacrifices do have to be made. At the end of the day, if you want to be very good at something, if you don't put the work in, you're not necessarily going to, be great at it, or at least not as quickly as the person that's working at their goals every single day. I do think us introverts need to make more time for our family and friends. Something that really hit me deep after reflecting and writing the script for this video was the time that I had with my dad. If you guys have been a longtime supporter of this channel, you guys know that my dad passed away a few years ago from cancer. We had our ups and downs, but at the end of the day, that's my dad, and I loved him so much. He was such a big inspiration for me, and he's somebody that I went through so much with, and it was hard when I lost him. But even back then, now looking back, I can't help but feel regretful because so much of my time was prioritized on this and trying to do this, that I wish I would have spent more time with him. This shit really weighs heavy on my heart, man, because I look back on those family pictures and I'm missing from so many of them. With my siblings, my mom, I'm literally looking at the picture and everybody's there, but I'm not. And if you were to ask me what was I doing when that picture was taken, I couldn't even give you a real answer. I wouldn't even be able to tell you. I know it would be pertaining on me working on my goals. I know that I wasn't out bullshitting. I wasn't in that picture because I was doing something that I thought was more important. But when you turn the time back on the clock and you are looking back and reminiscing, and it's like, damn, like my dad's not here no more, and I missed out on that moment for what? And now, if you ask me, I 100% would have traded it a million times to be there and spend that time with him so I can have that memory, but I don't. And now for the rest of my life, that's something that I gotta hold, and it's heavy on my heart for real. That's what life's about, you learn from your mistakes, and now I am very conscious of wanting to put a bigger effort into spending more time with family and friends, because this life should just not forever, man. I want to spend more time with my mom and my siblings. They live in Florida, Miami, Florida. I'm out here in Houston, so it's not as easy, but these are things that I want to prioritize now. Because at the end of the day, if you're an introvert and you like to be by yourself a lot, and maybe you're focused on your goals, or maybe you just honestly just fucking off watching shows all day and you just don't want to hang out with nobody, what is all that worth when the people you love just ain't around anymore? You know what I'm saying? If you're an introvert like me, I'm not necessarily asking you to change, because at the end of the day, there's pros and cons to everything. If you indulge in something too much, anything too much, it's probably a bad thing. So if you always prioritizing, hanging out with your friends, that could be a negative thing. But if you're always prioritizing being by yourself and doing your own shit, that could also be a negative thing. I feel like the real answer is, as an introvert, we typically avoid spending time with our extroverted friends because we don't feel as comfortable in those environments. But I'd argue that it is sometimes more beneficial to go out and experience life in the world, man. It's gonna be so much more impactful when you're looking back on your life and you actually did shit instead of just being stuck in these four walls in a room. In my case, just sitting here drawing pictures on the internet. Like, again, I love this. It ain't a complaint, but so much of my life is just this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have a lot of vivid memories of living life with the people I love. So no matter who you are and whatever the fuck you're doing, I just do think it's important for us to try to make time for the people we love, you know what I'm saying? Because the chances are your passion project, your job, your favorite TV show, whatever you're doing as an introvert, staying in your own four walls, is probably gonna be there tomorrow. But you can't always say that about the people you love. So enjoy that time. Go make memories, because remember, this life shit is not forever.
Where you at, Berto?